Hello, mic check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Mic check.
Hey, I just got attacked by my hairspray in the bathroom. Taheshah can testify.
Yep.
It literally would not stop. And I was like, ah, like that. I just wish that there would have been a camera on that moment. Are you here to fix the computer?
Is it broken again?
Well, look at it. It's sad.
It is sad.
Oh.
Mic check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Check 1 2 3 1 2 3. Hello, hello. How's that? Oh no, it's almost at the bottom. I'm gonna warn you ahead of time, my phone is flipping out. I don't know what's going on. That's gonna look weird.
Good afternoon and welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Maddie Gardner here with Taheshah Moyes, Eric Chilton, and Christian Morgan this afternoon.
Yes, we have a full house today. This is an interactive newscast where we chat with you during the commercial breaks. We invite you to join the conversation by joining on to the WFMY News 2 live stream on YouTube and on Facebook. And use that hashtag 4 to 5 to stay connected. Well, there are 3 top things that you need to know today, starting with
the classroom is the best place for children to learn.
Governor Roy Cooper says the statewide directive on how schools should operate in the fall will not be issued today, but will come soon. The governor says school district leaders across the state are still working on reopening plans for the upcoming school year based on 3 possibilities. The governor says he wants to see students back in school buildings, though. Today marks the highest number of cases in one day since the pandemic started. Hometown Strong is now helping North Carolina rural communities battling the impact of coronavirus. That team is partnering with the NC Pandemic Recovery Office to help small towns suffering financially. The goal is to improve healthcare access, economic planning for recovery, and support online learning for both students and workers. And the Guilford County Sheriff's Office is launching a new community initiative. The Guilford County Sheriff's Local Residents Advisory Roundtable will bridge the gap between the Sheriff's Office and the community. 12 community members will meet monthly with command staff, discussing concerns, suggestions, and asking questions about policies and procedures used in the Sheriff's Office. The group will focus on both patrol and detention services.
Let's dig a little bit deeper into the governor's announcement today. He did not say what school will look like in the fall for students and staff, but the State Board of Education did meet earlier this week, and the board offered 3 proposals to the governor. One would be to have school as normal, another is a hybrid model, and the third is strictly online learning. Now, Lieutenant Governor Dan Forest says he's not in favor of any of those proposals. Meanwhile, State Senator Wiley Nichols sponsored legislation that would set up a nurse in every school across the state.
Over 10% of our population goes in and out of those doors, and we should do everything we can to make sure that we're investing in keeping everybody safe during this time.
Nichols' bill has not passed yet, and no word yet on when Governor Cooper will update the state on what school looks like in the fall.
An Elon University poll found North Carolinians are divided over what to do for the upcoming school year. The survey looked at more than 1,000 residents. 38% were in favor of the hybrid plan, which would have students in school part-time and learning from home the other part of the time. 34% want students to go back to school, and 29% think students should continue online learning.
Let's turn now to your 4 to 5 roundup. The Surgeon General says everyone has to do their part to slow the spread of coronavirus. In an interview with our sister station in Charlotte, Dr. Jerome Adams called for every Carolinian to wear a mask as you celebrate the 4th of July holiday weekend, even if you're on the beach. Dr. Adams believes a vaccine will be ready by the end of this year or early next year. He said it is critical that every American accepts the vaccine once it's made available. Multiple Arizona gyms say they'll stay open despite an executive order telling them that they have to close again to slow the spread of COVID-19. Arizona's governor announced a 1-month pause in the state's reopening. On Monday, he ordered bars, gyms, movie theaters, and water parks to close by 8 o'clock that night. One gym owner says he plans to sue the state over the order. Violating the order is a Class 1 misdemeanor punishable by a fine of up to $2,500. More research is now being done into how far respiratory droplets can travel and how long they can survive as we continue to battle the virus. Canadian researchers developed a mathematical model and found, depending on conditions, droplets may travel 8 to 13 feet before they evaporate. They say their findings suggest that social distancing may need to be more than 6 feet. And on Tuesday, Mississippi's governor signed a bill that retires the state's Confederate-themed flag. It was first flown in 1894 and is the last state banner to include the Confederacy's battle symbol. Governor Tate Reeves called it a solemn occasion that he hopes will help Mississippi's people reconcile with their past and move on from it. The current flag must come down within 2 weeks.
Well, let's take a look outside. It is yet another hot and humid day across the Triad. Temperatures are in the upper 80s across the Triad, and we still haven't got to 90 yet. We've got to 89, so we'll continue to watch the thermometer and see if we can get our first 90-degree day on the first day of July. Of course, it's just muggy outside. Upper 60s to near 70 for those dew points. And it's going to stay humid, but it does look like we could get a little bit of a break as some drier air comes in for Friday and heading into your 4th of July weekend. But as we go into next week, that mugginess will crank right back up again. For most of us are dry on the radar this afternoon. There are just a few downpours that we're keeping our eyes on. One just south of downtown Greensboro, moving right across Freeman Mill Road. And then the other one has kind of fizzled itself out over in Winston-Salem. It'll still be muggy, but things will be a little more comfortable as we head through the evening hours, especially once the sun starts to go down, bottoming out right around 70 degrees. For your Thursday, it's another hot and humid day, but we do stay mainly dry. Temperatures making it into the upper 80s, close to 90 again. And right now, your 4th of July looks hot and humid with only an isolated afternoon storm chance.
Well, for nearly a week now, North Carolinians have been required to wear a face mask under Governor Cooper's order. But for those in our state who read lips, a mask makes it impossible to communicate. I met one artist who created a solution and a Triad store that can't keep her products on their shelves.
She was like, "Mom, you can't wear a mask."
North Carolina artist Meg Smither is stitching together a helpful combination. Masks that slow the spread of coronavirus, but make it possible to read lips.
My daughter is deaf, and even though she has a cochlear implant, somebody behind a mask, it's really hard for her. She reads lips way more than any of us realize. And so I said, well, okay, I'll make a mask with windows.
That window helps people who are deaf or hard of hearing communicate. She adapted a pattern she found online.
And it works great. And obviously I've got way more interest than I even realized.
So much so that a Triad business is having a hard time keeping them stocked.
We sold out of Megs within, I would say, 24 hours after we posted it.
Catherine and Saber Hashimi own Just Be in downtown Greensboro. They say Meg's masks are helping them meet a need in the city's deaf community. Face masks of all kinds have been a hot item at the shop.
Some days it's like 1/4 of our sales.
Saber even started sewing his own. He's made more than 1,100.
It was a little bit hard on us the beginning, but then we got used to it. Now it's hard to stop it because people coming to the store and they're looking for them.
And more people are looking for Meg's masks too. She's sent out about 350 and is working on more to supply the growing demand, including the one here in the Triad. Well, Just Be, the shop downtown, hopes to have more masks with that clear window next week. By the way, if you wear a modified mask like these ones and you find it's fogging up, Meg, the artist, suggests taking a dab of dish soap and coating the inside of the vinyl. A pro tip there.
Well, local leaders and health officials are working to make testing more available in the eastern parts of Greensboro. Meanwhile, a salon owner whose shop is located in East Greensboro is doing her part to help slow down the virus. Very generous of her, by the way. Tatiana Price owns Snapback Hair Studio. She's giving away Lysol, disinfectants, Clorox wipes, toilet paper, paper towels, gloves, and face shields on Friday. She's also handing out 1,000 masks. How about that? The giveaways for anybody who needs supplies. That event, again, is this Friday, July 3rd, from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. That's at Snapback Hair Studio. They're located at North English Street in Greensboro.
At first, like weeks ago, I was like, wow, this is awful. You know, that we are literally like a hot spot. So I was kind of scared to come to work a little bit. I think it would help because sometimes people may not be able to afford things, or they may not be able to get access to being able to go to the store, or, you know, they can't afford it. So hopefully this will be able to help them have the necessities they need without having the hassle of, you know, the inconveniences of things like that.
So if you need those supplies, all you have to do is stop by her shop. She says they're located, as we told you, on North English Street. And that giveaway, again, is from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Friday.
Well, the coronavirus has changed lives all around the world. More than 10 million people have now tested positive worldwide for that virus.
Some states are going through phases of the reopening process, and others are slowing down their reopening process. Now, this uncertainty is leaving many with questions, and questions you want the answer to. So we're here to ease some of your fears and answer those for you. So one question we've been hearing a lot about is the symptoms. The symptoms have changed for COVID-19. The CDC has added to the list since the start of the pandemic: fever, cough, shortness of breath, fatigue, body aches, headache, loss of taste or smell, sore throat, congestion, nausea, or diarrhea are some of the symptoms. If you have any concerns, you can call your doctor or local health department first.
Next, a question we've heard quite often: can you get the virus twice? Well, researchers are still investigating antibodies for an answer to that, but other studies of coronavirus like SARS and MERS showed people with temporary immunity once they recovered from the virus the first time.
And are masks effective against coronavirus is another one we've been hearing. The CDC says the virus can spread through talking, coughing, or sneezing. It recommends wearing a mask as a barrier to those particles that can spread.
And finally, when will there be a vaccine? Wouldn't we all love to know? Well, we're hearing from the experts. Dr. Anthony Fauci says he believes one could be ready by the end of this year or early next year. but there's no guarantee.
So join the conversation on the WFMY News 2 Facebook page. If there is a vaccine out at the end of this year, early next year, will you get it? We'll be right back.
Is anyone talking?
They're talking.
What
They're talking to you.
What'd they say?
What's up?
Nothing.
Okay. When are we going live? Ask them that.
I'm waiting on Tasha to tell us when we're.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. Well, masks, they've become a part of our daily attire these days, right? So I asked you on my Facebook page to share with me your best mask selfie. And I got some really good ones. Let's take a look at a few of them. Mavis Anderson, she's playing tricks on my eyes. Look at this schnauzer mask that she has. Next, a family that masks together stays together. That's according to the Swifts there. Laura Cox, well, she's ready for a luau and a football game with her mask and her lei there. Susan Humphrey's mask says she supports frontline workers. Ken Rogers, well, he says happy 4th. It's coming up, isn't it? Stephen Glasgow's mask is featuring some cows. I like that one. Brenda Moore and her husband are looking great in gingham at the grocery store. There they are. Look at that. And Jimmy Curd, well, he's supporting the Stars and Stripes too. Very patriotic. And how about this perfect duo in their cat mask? Thanks, Caroline, for that picture. They're becoming somewhat of a fashion statement. Look at this masked bandit. You look good, Chili.
Yeah, that's you can't hear me. I'll take this thing off. Yeah, I have this one, and I have one that's navy blue with white stars on it. So stars and stripes here.
That's perfect. I do have one with stars to wear on the 4th of July. I actually went on a bit of a mask shopping spree over the weekend and bought a few more designs, you know, because I need to coordinate with my outfits.
If you want to coordinate, what you need to do is go to Adoria Chumba's Instagram and Facebook page here. She works at the station. She has a sparkly mask that went with the purple dress that she was wearing that day. And she bought it here locally from someone in the Triad. So masks are now really becoming a fashion statement too, if you think of it.
Adoria is our resident fashionista,
yes.
So that makes sense. Chilton, I think you need a sparkly one.
I'll work on that.
Okay.
One maybe with some weather models on it. I think that'd be great too. Hey, you can continue to share your best mask selfie with us. Just use our hashtag 4 to 5. We'll be back.
A Black Lives Matter Make Your Voice Heard protest is currently happening inside of Haynes Mall.
A group of about 25 people are gathering at Haynes Mall in Winston-Salem for a Black Lives Matter protest. Let's get right over to WFMY News 2's Itanise McMiller to see what's going on.
A Black Lives Matter Make Your Voices Heard protest is going on right now inside of Haynes Mall. A small group of about 25 or so are marching inside the mall with signs and making those typical chants we've been hearing for the past month or so from these Black Lives Matter groups in protest. Those who are marching, some of them are members of Winston for Peace, and also some of them are members of the Unity Coalition. They started at the McDonald's and they went inside about 15 or 20 minutes ago. They haven't come back out since. And I did speak to management with Haynes Mall to find out if this was something that was coordinated between the protesters and Haynes Mall. They said that this was something that was not coordinated between the two of them. They are aware of the protest, but this was not a coordinated event like the protest we covered last week at Friendly. Also, I did reach out to the Winston-Salem Police Department. They say that they do have resources available and they are aware of the protest, so they do have resources available if needed. So we'll continue to keep you updated on the protest that's happening again inside of Haynes Mall.
Well, insurance, you know, it's a mystery to a lot of us. I don't know about you, but to me, sometimes I just can't figure out. A lot of us just pay the bill and we just hope that the rates don't go up. We don't understand why they do or why they don't. Well, I spoke with John Palmer of John L. Palmer Insurance Agency to get a little advice for all of us in these tough times.
John, you know, it's tough economic times right now. A lot of people are looking for any ways to pinch pennies. And I thought about insurance and thought about you. Is there anything we can do to try to save a little money right now?
Yeah, since a lot of us are actually staying at home right now, we have a little extra time on our hands. This is a wonderful opportunity for an individual policyholder to call their agent and kind of do a comprehensive policy review to make sure that they're getting what they think they're getting, and also see if there are any savings based on the stay-at-home situation. That's the first thing. So let's do a comprehensive policy review with your agent. Call them up and tell them you want to review your policy, your coverages, your deductibles, things like that. The second part is the insurance companies. A lot of the insurance companies have actually stepped up and they've decided to refund a portion of your auto premium back to you as a consumer. That's a great way to help and say thank you, and that we as an insurance company, as an industry, understand the current situation. So we're trying to help customers out by way of refunding a portion of their premium back to them. That's the second thing. The third thing would be the actual usage. There are a lot less cars on the road nowadays as a result of the stay-at-home situation that we're in. So if an individual who's working remotely at home, they could actually call their agent and ask, how is my particular car that I drive each day, how is it classified? If it's classified as commuting to work, then, and you're actually working remotely at home, you can request that it be classified to pleasure, as pleasure, because you're not working, you're not getting up every morning driving to work. Because of that, because you're driving less, the probability of an accident is less, therefore your price is less. So by requesting that you change the classification, the agent changes the classification from commuting to work to pleasure, that will also save the consumer money.
That's perfect. That's exactly what we need right now. Thanks for the information, John. We appreciate it. Hopefully we'll save a buck here and there.
I appreciate you having me on, Eric.
So if you want to reach out to John, then I have linked you to his office's website. If you have any other questions, it's on this story, which is on WFNYnews2.com. We're going to take a short break. We're coming right back. More of the 4 to 5 straight ahead.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. A taco restaurant in Los Angeles shut down because customers are refusing to wear face masks. Hugo's Tacos posted on Instagram that restaurant's employees are exhausted by the conflicts. They say they've been harassed and even had drinks thrown at them for asking customers to follow the rules and wear a mask. Los Angeles has more than 100,000 cases of coronavirus, and California now has a statewide rule to wear a mask out in public. So here's my thing. These restaurants have been shut down for weeks. They come back, they're ready to work, and then they have to shut down again because people are acting out about this.
I don't get it. You know, the whole thing for me, and this is my personal opinion, I know some people don't want to wear a mask, and you have the right to do that. I think it's the wrong thing to do. But the overreaction to face masks, I just do not get. Is it really that big of a deal? I don't. It doesn't bother me that much. Maybe I'm different, but it doesn't bother me that much.
Yeah, it seems to bother a lot of people. I myself have trouble wrapping my mind around that. But if I'm in a business, you know, where other people are, the business owners are asking me to do one thing, of course I'm going to follow because I want to have whatever services that they're offering there. That's why I came all the way, wherever it is, to spend money. So if they are asking me to wear a mask, of course I'm going to do it for myself and for others.
Right, and legal experts are saying, well, it's just like when a business says no shoes, no shirt, no service. A business can deny you service if you don't wear that mask at this point. And the thing is, just don't go if you know that you have to wear a mask to be there, and certainly don't throw a drink at somebody because you're mad at them ever. All right, I'm done. Forecast time.
Yeah, I don't understand it either, guys. But I'll tell you what, a mask would be a little muggy outside today, especially if you're doing any outdoor exercising or activities. It is muggy. For the most part, though, it is a dry afternoon. Watching a couple downpours and just some remnants of some storms. Really, the only downpour we have in the Triad right now is this one between Greensboro and Randleman, right between Level Cross and Greensboro, I should say, right along Highway 220. Just a quick downpour. They are slow moving, though, and that could dump a little bit of rain in a short amount of time. We do have a boundary or a stationary front down to our south, so that's where most of our storm activity is staying today, although a couple more pop-up storms can be ruled out as we go throughout the afternoon and the evening. We have drier, high pressure building in for the rest of the week, so that means tomorrow and Friday are going to be mainly dry days. They still will be hot, though. We're in the upper 80s across the Triad now. Tonight we'll get down to around 70 and it will still be muggy. For your Thursday, mainly dry day, upper 80s close to 90, and hanging on to that humidity. Full 7-day forecast come up next in the 4 to 5.
Hello, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together. Yep.
Brian, mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4 to 5, mic check. 1, 2, 3, mic check. Thanks.
Good afternoon and welcome to your 4 to 5 at 4:30. I'm Taheshah Moyes, joined by Maddie Gardner, Eric Chilton, and Christian Morgan.
Yes, this is an interactive news show. We want to hear from you, your thoughts about the news of the day. Join our conversation on our Facebook page and our YouTube live stream. Just use our hashtag 4 to 5 to stay connected. Well, Governor Roy Cooper pushed back a decision on what schools will look like in the fall. Education experts say it's probably going to be at least some kind of mixture of online and in-person learning. But 2 Wants to Know's Ben Briscoe found new concerns about North Carolina's ability to do virtual schooling.
Before coronavirus, about 32,000 students were already taking classes online through North Carolina's virtual public school run by the state. But the state auditor is raising concerns about what they were learning. 8 out of 12 courses checked by auditors did not meet required curriculum, meaning there's a risk that students would not be taught all required subject matter. Also, 11 of the 12 courses checked had no proof they met adopted standards for rigor, increasing the risk that students may not master the course material. Add to that, teaching evaluations were not performed consistently. And then, we teach our children to be original and not plagiarize, but auditors found 9 out of 10 teachers checked ripped off third-party material without proper citation. The auditors used a special computer program to scan the internet and found, for example, questions on a physical science assessment found on a practice test published by a well-known educational publisher. It might not seem like a huge deal, but it could open up the state to potential litigation that would have to be paid out with your tax dollars. The Department of Public Instruction responded, writing, "While we appreciate constructive criticism, the agency disagrees with most of the findings." DPI points out that auditors only used written records to draw conclusions. The state says auditors did not talk with teachers or students to get their feedback, adding that the average teacher has 16 years experience and North Carolina students are fortunate to have these amazing teachers. North Carolina Virtual Public School has been championed by educational leaders as well as elected leaders from all points in the political spectrum. You can read the full audit on WFMYnews2.com. Ben Briscoe, 2 Wants to Know.
You know, most of the large 4th of July fireworks shows have been canceled this year, of course, due to coronavirus. That means some families may have to hold their own celebrations here. A doctor at Novant Health is warning residents to not only be safe when using fireworks on their own, but also to remember not to spread coronavirus. Dr. Daniel Job says if you go to any of these gatherings, of course, social distance and wash your hands often.
The safest option, of course, is simply not to go. There's a risk of any gathering becoming a spreader event. And so if you have the option, please choose not to join any crowds, including fireworks celebrations.
Over 9,000 people went to the hospital for firework-related injuries back in 2018. 5,000 of those injuries happened on or around the 4th of July.
A time capsule from 1894 was found under a now removed Confederate monument in Raleigh. Crews found the capsule underneath the base of the monument when they were removing it. The North Carolina Department of Cultural Resources says the capsule was installed when the monument was built in 1894. An article written by the Daily Press in 1894 lists who was at the capsule's burial and what's inside the box, but those details have not been released yet. The capsule will be opened later this week. That Confederate monument had been on Capitol grounds for 125 years.
And a lot of you chatting about this on Facebook, whether it's about the capsule's history or purpose or the removal of the monument. Brian Bennett is taking a look at what folks are saying. Brian?
Yeah, Eric, a lot of opinions here. We're going to kick things off here with Jenny, who is clearly upset. She says it's a disgrace and shameful that communities are allowing this kind of behavior. Meanwhile, Sandra has a different opinion. She says, put them in a museum since some of you are so intent on preserving history. Jamie says, if there is a time capsule underneath it, then it was meant to be taken down at some point anyway. It was literally planned that way. While Concrete Rose is just saying, listen guys, I just want to see what's in the thing. She says, I can't wait to see what's in the time capsule. So there you go. Your opinions have just been read.
Because I love time capsules. I actually put one. I headed up a committee that we did it my senior year in college and opened it 25 years later. This type of thing is right down my alley. I just want to see what's in that box.
Yeah, see what's inside it. And they say they're going to open it sometime this week in Raleigh, so I'm sure we will find out soon. But from 1894, a lot has changed since then, so it'll be interesting to see what they buried.
I think it's a good idea to make a new one at this point and put it somewhere so that, 100 years from now, 150 years, other people can be having these same conversations, trying to figure out what exactly was going on in society in that point in time.
Yeah. All right, let's take a look at some world news headlines now. A groom in India could be responsible for infecting almost 100 people with coronavirus. He died of COVID-19 symptoms just 2 days after the wedding ceremony. More than 350 friends and family attended. Indian news outlets report that he was never tested and his family ignored wishes to postpone the big day, citing a financial loss. The groom's death prompted health authorities to test relatives. 15 tested positive. More than 360 people in the village were also tested, and almost 100 of them were positive for the virus. Right now, large weddings are not allowed, so authorities are looking into how this was able to happen.
So today I asked on my Facebook page if you would feel comfortable going to a big event like a wedding today, and here's what you had to say. Mixed group of comments here. Melissa writes, "No fear, I'd go." Kathy Smith says, "If maybe outside." Jolie Meyer says maybe the ceremony only, and only if practicing social distancing and masks. Irma says nope, no funerals, birthday parties either. Melanie says yes, I would go, have a family wedding this month. And Ken Wood says nope, no social gatherings for me until there's a vaccine. This is a decision that a lot of people have to make for themselves when they do get invited to events like that. For some people, this is a matter of life or death because they can't be around groups of people like that, especially if they don't know where they've been because they have a health issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think for me, I would go, but again, I kind of agree with the person that said outside and people social distancing it. I think I'd have to have that before I feel comfortable.
Right, same. For me, it depends. If it's outside, if it's less than 25 people, which is what health experts are saying is the recommendation right now. If masks are a requirement there, I'd feel more comfortable than going to an indoor event with hundreds of people who aren't social distancing or wearing masks. So it just depends on the situation at this point. But goodness, I know a lot of families are upset that they can't have weddings that they planned, and some people aren't even able to have funerals right now. It's really heartbreaking.
Right. And something we'll just have to keep an eye on for sure. And it depends on what state you're in too, because some states allow events up to 100 people. Other states you can't do more than 25 too. And then there's the travel to said event that people are worried about as well.
Absolutely. All right, Christian Morgan, did we hit 90 yet? What's going on?
Well, it's hot and humid, but what else is new and what would you expect for the end of June and the first day of July here in North Carolina? We were actually well into the 80s by lunchtime today. We did have some clouds this morning, but once they broke through, we warmed up quite quickly. We've got up to 89 so far today, still watching to see if we get our first 90-degree day on the first day of July, but I have my doubts, actually. We are still in the mid and upper 80s across the Triad right now, and it is still muggy. For the most part, we are dry, just a couple little downpours on the radar right now, but nothing more than that, nothing big and bad. A boundary, or really a stationary front, is kind of stalled out down to our south, so that's where most of the storm action is. And as we head into Thursday and Friday, we are going to have high pressure building in from the north, and that is drier high pressure, which means the next couple days, well, they're still going to be hot and humid, but they will be dry. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, it'll still be muggy, right around 70 degrees for the overnight low. And for your Thursday, it's another hot and humid day. Temperatures in the upper 80s, close to 90 again, but we will watch for just an isolated storm chance. Those chances really go down as we head through the rest of the week. It's a hot and muggy 7-day forecast. And what else would you expect on the 4th of July?
Here's the question. How do most Americans pay their bills? Well, according to Pew Research right here, 54% actually pay by check. Can you believe that? 28% electronic or online, 15% cash, and then other was about 3%. So my 4 to 5 friends, where do you fit in with this, Taheshah?
Credit card is king for me.
All right, and Maddie?
Online.
Online. All right, I gotta tell you, just for the record, my husband used to live in a town where you could only pay your water bill in person.
Oh, mine would never get paid.
Right. So, all right, no one mentioned paying with a gift card with their bills. Why is that?
I don't think that's possible, is it?
Sounds like a scam.
Yes, okay, this is why I bring it up, my friends. Here we go. Anytime you are asked to pay with a gift card, it is a scam for sure. I don't care if the caller says they're from the IRS or the power company or whatever. Gift cards as a payment is always a scam. Your neighbors are getting calls from what sounds like a known company, but they're asking for gift cards as payment. Which company is the target? And are you about to get this call? We're going to talk about it at 6 o'clock. And we're answering more of your questions at 5:30. This time around, it's about insurance, auto, home, flood. Hey, when the tree falls, who pays for it? Text your questions, 336-379-5775. Our expert is from Alliance Insurance Services. He's going to be able to answer your questions coming up at 5:30.
A school board in Portland, Maine has decided to get rid of school resource officers in 2 of its high schools. The superintendent recommended this move, saying that it would free up about $150,000 for the district. He says those funds would be reallocated for security at large events and de-escalation training for staff. The motion passed by a 7-2 vote. Now, some high school kids already have more than 1,000 signatures on a petition in support of their SRO.
So I asked you on Facebook if you think it's a good idea to remove SROs. And I'm going to tell you, in the entire time that we've been doing this show, I have never had as many people respond in one side of an argument. In the middle part of the day, I looked, I had about 95 comments. All of them had the same opinion. Now there's close to 200, so it may have changed. But let's go ahead and take a look at what you had to say. Huge response here. Noel Dartery Hill says, as someone who lived through the era of Columbine as I was entering high school, this seems like a scary thought. Kelly Simpson says, horrible idea. If anything, they should add more. David Burton says, until parents start teaching them to respect authority and applying the rod of correction to the seat of knowledge, you better double them. Shannon Cook-Witt says school resource officers are wonderful. They build positive relationships with students. And Dolores Jones said, absolutely not. Some kids are out of control now. It would be worse if we didn't have these officers. Heavy opinions on one side with this issue.
Yeah, well, as soon as you brought this story up, I thought school shootings, which is sad, but this is the time we live in, right? So I did a story a few months ago about teachers being able to carry guns in the classroom and what that would look like if an SRO is not at their school. And listen, not every school has an SRO. It does take authorities some time to respond to these types of calls. So having someone immediately there who is trained to deal with that situation can save lives.
And for me, what I think about with the SRO is how that could be a first interaction that a teen or a child has with a police officer. So it's an important bridge in the community between police and the children there who are going to grow up and see these police officers out in the street. And you want to start out young to be building that proper relationship with them.
Yeah, I grew up.
And by the way, one more thing real quick here, Maddie, some of the people were commenting on what you said exactly. They brought up school shootings quite a bit.
Yeah, I grew up with SROs in the schools, so I know the kind of resource that it is for students, and I think it is a good idea. But you can share your thoughts as well. That's why we're here. Use our hashtag 4 to 5. We're live streaming on Facebook and YouTube. We'll be back.
It's time for your 4 to 5 roundup. The search for a missing Fort Hood, Texas soldier is believed to be over. Vanessa Guillen was last seen on post April 22nd. The attorney for her family says human remains found Tuesday are believed to be Guillen's. Officials on Fort Hood say an active duty soldier who killed himself early this morning and the ex-wife of a former soldier are suspects in Guillen's disappearance. Her family accuses the Army of a cover-up in her death. They say they want a congressional investigation. New marijuana laws went into effect today in Virginia. Small amounts of marijuana are now decriminalized. Marijuana advocates say decriminalization is not the same thing as legalization. The penalties for possession are changing. So anyone caught with an ounce or less will only receive a $25 fine. Simple possession will no longer go on someone's criminal record, and schools and employers can no longer ask someone applying for employment or admission about possession charges. And we do want to say a big happy birthday to twin sisters Reverend Lena Craven and Reverend Letha Trogdon. These fun and fabulous ladies are 90 today. Help us wish them a big happy birthday.
All right, so we have been in quarantine, we have been sheltering in place, and now a lot of us are working remotely from your home. And we know eventually our situation will change. But think about the animals in shelters. Sometimes their situation can go on for a long time like this, lots of isolation. Well, there's an event in Alamance County that helps these animals. I spoke with Brandy McCandless with the city of Graham to get the scoop.
Well, Brandy, when I first heard about this event, I thought it sounded so cool. I had never heard about this, and you guys have been doing it for months. But this Hikes with Hounds thing, really, it brings pet lovers in and helps keep people a little bit on the healthy side as well.
Yes, definitely. The Hikes with Hounds program's actually been around since 2015. It's a partnership with Burlington Recreation and Parks as well as Burlington Animal Services. And within the past year, Graham Recreation and Parks has joined in on the partnership. And it's a great way for us to get folks out and active to showcase the parks and trails that are available throughout Alamance County. It also brings awareness about the animals that are available at Animal Services as well as the community resources.
Now, I know that it might look a little bit different than it has in the past because of the COVID situation. How does that affect this event?
So our last hike was back in March. We've had to postpone the hikes. We usually offer them one Friday a month. We take 4 to 6 dogs out on the trails. We harness them up at the shelter and take them to the location where our volunteers meet us. Usually we have about 10 to 18 volunteers that pair up to walk the hounds. We take off and wade along the trail, but it gives the dogs a great opportunity to exercise. But until we can truly hike safely in this larger group, we've decided to postpone. Hopefully we'll be able to hike again in August, September, October. We're really hoping the program continues.
Well, it sounds like everybody loves this. I'm sure that the response has been good. We thank you for taking time out, and we'll be looking for that next one whenever that happens.
And if you want more information on the Hikes with Hounds program, I have linked you to their website where you can register to be a volunteer. Just look for this story on WFMYnews2.com.
And I have breaking news. It is a miracle. It's the first day of July. It's also our first day at 90 degrees officially in Greensboro. We're still in the upper 80s across the area, and for the most part, we're dry on the radar. Tonight, we'll drop down to upper 60s to around 70 degrees. It'll still be muggy. Tomorrow, much like today, in the upper 80s, hot and humid, with just a very low-end chance of getting an isolated shower or storm. The remainder of the week looks to be dry, just staying hot. And your first look at the 4th of July, 90 again, with just only an isolated shower or storm chance in the afternoon and evening hours, but it shouldn't put any damper on your fireworks or your 4th of July plans. We stay hot and we stay humid, adding in those very typical low-end chances for some pop-up summertime afternoon and evening pop-up storms.
90 degrees, a miracle. Oh, Christian Morgan. All right, let's take a look at what's coming up on WFMY News 2 at 5. Governor Roy Cooper just announced that school district leaders will have to continue working on plans to reopen schools. Hear from parents and school leaders about the governor's delayed decision. That's next on WFMY News 2 at 5. Stay with us.
Hello, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together.
Hello, while no specific plan was put into place, Governor Cooper says the coronavirus.
Hey, Jeffrey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Sure. Mic check 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6. Hey, we hit 90 degrees. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, it's Alma doing a mic check. Hello, Matthew. I hope you are well today. We are.
People suck. Are you hearing anything? I'm not hearing anything.
You're not hearing anything?
No.
They're doing a mic check right now.
For me?
Yeah.
Okay. Parents shared a lot of frustration.